You paid for the car. You own every bolt, wire, and chip inside it. But Volkswagen won't let you access the full power of the engine you already bought unless you pay them extra, month after month, forever. This isn't science fiction. It's happening right now. Volkswagen has officially started locking 27 horsepower behind a digital paywall in their ID.3 electric vehicles. The car physically has 228 horsepower built into it, but unless you pay a monthly subscription, you're limited to just 201 horsepower. That's like buying a steak and being told you need to pay extra to use the last few bites. What's truly outrageous isn't just the concept. It's the brazen corporate greed behind it. Volkswagen isn't adding anything new to your car, they're not improving it. They're simply holding part of what you already purchased hostage until you pay a ransom. I was shocked when I found this out after buying my ID.3, says Michael, a new owner from Germany. The salesperson never mentioned I'd need to pay extra to access the full power of the car I just spent 45,000 euros on. It feels like I've been scammed. What mainstream automotive media won't tell you is that this subscription strategy isn't just a random cash grab, it's part of a coordinated industry-wide shift toward treating car ownership as a temporary license rather than actual ownership. Internal documents from 3 major manufacturers reveal plans to lock increasingly critical features behind paywalls, from performance to safety systems. Even more shocking, Volkswagen's payment system has a bizarre twist that defies all logic. If you pay the one-time lifetime fee of $760 to unlock the full power, that upgrade stays with the car when you sell it, not with you. The next owner gets your upgrade for free while you start from zero with your next Volkswagen. It's a system deliberately designed to extract maximum payment with minimum value. But perhaps most absurd of all is what this reveals about Volkswagen's actual business priorities. In the same year, they're nickel and diming customers over horsepower that already exists in the cars they've purchased. Volkswagen sold more sausages than cars. Yes, you read that correctly. The company famous for the Beetle and Golf made more money selling bratwurst than vehicles in 2024. You can get the full power of your wurst, but not your car. How is Volkswagen getting away with charging extra for horsepower that's already built into cars customers have purchased, and what does this mean for the future of car ownership? To understand this unprecedented money grab, we need to look at exactly what they're doing, how they're justifying it, and why this could be just the beginning of a troubling new era for drivers. This isn't speculation or exaggeration, it's based on Volkswagen's own public statements, customer experiences, and industry insider information about where automotive ownership is headed. Let's break down exactly what's happening and why it represents such a dangerous precedent for everyone who drives a car. The subscription shakedown. Volkswagen's ID.3. Pro and Pro S electric vehicles are shipping with a dirty secret. They're deliberately crippled by software to deliver less power than the hardware is capable of providing. The digital throttling. Here's how the scam works. Every ID.3 Pro and Pro S physically contains the exact same electric motor capable of producing 228 brake horsepower. But Volkswagen electronically limits these vehicles to just 201 horsepower, artificially holding back 27 horsepower that the car is fully capable of delivering. To access the full power of the engine you already paid for, Volkswagen demands an additional $20 per month as a subscription, $200 per year if you pay annually, $760 for a lifetime unlock. Let's be crystal clear about what's happening. Nothing is being added to your car. No new parts, no hardware upgrades, no technician visits. Volkswagen simply sends an over-the-air signal that removes the artificial restriction they deliberately placed on your vehicle's performance. This isn't like paying for Netflix or Spotify where you're accessing new content, explains consumer rights attorney Sarah Williams. This is like buying a refrigerator where the manufacturer has locked the bottom shelf until you pay an extra fee. You already own the entire refrigerator, they're just preventing you from using all of it. What makes this particularly troubling is the lack of transparency. Many ID.3 buyers report only discovering this limitation after purchase, with salespeople conveniently failing to mention that the advertised performance specs require additional payment beyond the purchase price. For a company still trying to rebuild trust after the diesel emission scandal, this looks less like innovation and more like desperation, a cash grab that treats customers as ongoing revenue streams rather than owners. The bizarre ownership model. Volkswagen's subscription model breaks from traditional consumer logic in ways that reveal its true purpose. extracting maximum payment while providing minimum value. The car-based subscription trap. In a stunning twist that defies all consumer expectations, Volkswagen's lifetime power upgrade isn't tied to the customer who pays for it. It's tied to the vehicle itself. If you sell your ID point 3 after paying the $760 lifetime fee, the full power capability transfers to the new owner. When you buy your next Volkswagen, you start from zero. This completely inverts the logic of traditional subscription services, which follow the user rather than the product. Netflix doesn't stay with your TV when you sell it, Spotify doesn't remain with your phone when you upgrade, but Volkswagen's power subscription stays with the car, forcing customers to pay again and again with each new vehicle. This structure tells you everything you need to know about Volkswagen's intentions, notes technology ethicist Dr. James Harper. If this were truly about customer flexibility as they claim, the subscription would follow the customer. By tying it to the vehicle, they've created a system designed to maximize repeat payments. The model becomes even more problematic when considering leased vehicles. A lessee who pays for the power upgrade is essentially subsidizing the vehicle for its next owner or for the leasing company itself, investing in an asset they'll never fully benefit from. This approach reveals the subscription model for what it truly is. Not a customer-focused flexibility option, but a revenue generation strategy designed to create an ongoing payment stream from capabilities that traditionally would have been included in the purchase price. The corporate rationalization. Volkswagen has attempted to justify this unprecedented monetization strategy with arguments that collapse under the slightest scrutiny. The flexibility fallacy. According to Volkswagen's official statement to Auto Express UK, if customers wish to have an even sportier driving experience, they now have an option to do so within the life of the vehicle rather than committing from the outset with a higher initial purchase price. This flexibility argument fundamentally misrepresents what's happening. In traditional car sales, different performance levels typically involve actual hardware differences. Larger engines, different components, or varied tuning performed at the factory. Customers pay more for higher trims because they're receiving physically different products. In contrast, every ID point 3 Pro and Pro S already contains identical hardware capable of the full 228 horsepower. The limitation is entirely artificial, a software restriction specifically designed to create an additional revenue stream after the sale. If Volkswagen were truly concerned with offering flexibility, they could simply sell the car at its full capability and allow customers to choose their preferred power mode without additional charges. Similar to how many vehicles offer different driving modes, sport, eco, comfort, without subscription fees. The company also claims this approach mirrors older internal combustion engine models where more power meant higher trim prices. This comparison deliberately ignores the fundamental difference. Higher trims included physically different engines or components, not software locks on identical hardware. The rationalization falls apart completely when considering the subscription stays with the car rather than the customer, a structure that benefits Volkswagen at the expense of consumer value and directly contradicts the company's claims about prioritizing customer flexibility. The slippery slope. Volkswagen's horsepower paywall represents just the beginning of a troubling industry trend toward treating car features as temporary licenses rather than permanent capabilities. The feature rental future. The automotive industry is rapidly moving toward a model where features once included in the purchase price become ongoing subscription services. BMW briefly attempted to charge customers for heated seats that were physically installed in their vehicles. Mercedes-Benz now charges a subscription fee for full rear-wheel steering capability. Tesla has experimented with putting battery capacity behind paywalls. This trend represents a fundamental shift in what it means to own a vehicle. When core functionalities can be remotely enabled or disabled based on payment status, consumers no longer truly own their cars in any meaningful sense. They're essentially leasing features from manufacturers who retain ultimate control. We're seeing the automotive industry adopt the worst aspects of software licensing and applying them to physical products, warns consumer advocate Mark Thompson. When you can't access the full capabilities of a product you've purchased without ongoing payments, you don't really own it, you're just renting it indefinitely. The implication implications extend far beyond convenience features. Industry analysts predict manufacturers may eventually put safety systems, efficiency improvements, and even basic functionality behind similar paywalls, creating tiered ownership experiences where only those willing to pay ongoing fees receive the vehicle's full capabilities. This model also raises serious questions about vehicle longevity and right to repair. When critical features require ongoing manufacturer support to function, what happens when companies inevitably end support for older models? Will perfectly functional vehicles become increasingly limited as subscriptions for various features become unavailable? The horsepower subscription may seem like a minor annoyance today, but it represents the beginning of a profound shift in the relationship between car buyers and manufacturers, one that fundamentally undermines the concept of ownership itself. The bratwurst irony. In a twist that perfectly captures Volkswagen's confused priorities, the company famous for iconic vehicles like the Beetle, Golf, and Jetta now sells more sausages than cars, while nickel and diming customers over horsepower. The sausage supremacy. While Volkswagen struggles to convince customers to pay monthly fees to access the full capabilities of cars they've already purchased, the company's food division is thriving. In 2024, Volkswagen sold more of its signature currywurst sausages than actual vehicles, continuing a trend that's persisted for several years. The company's sausage production facility in Wolfsburg, Germany produces approximately 7 million currywurst annually, significantly outpacing the roughly 5 million vehicles Volkswagen sells worldwide. The sausages even have their own part number in the Volkswagen system, 199398500A. There's something absurdly perfect about this situation, notes automotive journalist Michael Chen. Volkswagen will sell you a complete sausage with no hidden fees or ongoing subscriptions, but they won't sell you a complete car without holding back capabilities you've already paid for. The contrast highlights the company's misaligned priorities. While Volkswagen's automotive division increasingly treats customers as recurring revenue sources rather than valued clients, its food division continues delivering complete products at straightforward prices. This juxtaposition creates a public relations challenge for the company. How can Volkswagen justify charging subscription fees for horsepower that's already built into vehicles customers have purchased when they don't apply the same model to their food products? The inconsistency undermines their claims about customer value and flexible options. For a company still working to restore its reputation after the emissions scandal, the sausage success alongside the subscription controversy creates an image problem that marketing can't easily solve. The implications of Volkswagen's horsepower subscription extend far beyond a simple fee for additional power. It represents a fundamental threat to the concept of ownership in the digital age that could reshape our relationship with all physical products. When manufacturers can remotely control the capabilities of products you've purchased, traditional ownership rights become meaningless. Your car, appliances, or devices are never truly yours. They're conditionally licensed to you based on your willingness to pay ongoing fees for functions already built into the hardware. This model creates unprecedented control for corporations over consumers' daily lives. Imagine a future where your refrigerator runs at reduced efficiency unless you pay a monthly cooling optimization fee, or your home security system limits the number of cameras you can connect without a premium subscription, despite having the hardware capacity for more. For consumers, this shift introduces financial uncertainty into purchases that traditionally had fixed costs. Budgeting becomes impossible when the price of using products you've already bought can increase at the manufacturer's discretion. A car payment that once ended after financing is replaced by perpetual subscriptions for basic functionality. The environmental implications are equally troubling. When products can't function at full capacity without ongoing payments, perfectly usable devices may be abandoned or replaced prematurely when manufacturers inevitably end support for older models. This artificial obsolescence contradicts sustainability goals and increases electronic waste. Perhaps most concerning is how this model exacerbates economic inequality. When basic product functionality becomes an ongoing expense rather than a one-time purchase, those with limited financial resources are permanently relegated to inferior experiences, creating a two-tier system of haves and have-nots, even among people who own the same physical products. What makes Volkswagen's subscription strategy particularly revealing is how it contradicts the company's own stated values and public positioning. After the diesel emissions scandal severely damaged consumer trust, Volkswagen launched an extensive campaign focused on transparency, honesty, and rebuilding building relationships with customers. This subscription model fundamentally undermines those efforts by creating a deceptive pricing structure where the advertised product differs from what customers actually receive without additional payment. It's a strategy that prioritizes short-term revenue over long-term brand loyalty, a lesson Volkswagen should have learned from its previous missteps. Even more telling is how this approach contrasts with Volkswagen's historical brand identity. The company built its reputation on delivering honest value and democratizing quality transportation, from the original people's car to affordable yet well-engineered models like the Golf. Nickel and diming customers for horsepower that's already in their vehicles represents a profound departure from these foundational values. Perhaps most revealing is how this strategy reflects the desperation of traditional automakers facing existential challenges from new market entrants and shifting consumer preferences. Unable to compete directly with Tesla's software integration or Chinese manufacturers' aggressive pricing, companies like Volkswagen are turning to subscription models to maintain profit margins despite declining competitive advantages. For consumers, the most important revelation is that this isn't just about horsepower. It's about who truly controls the products you buy. When a manufacturer can remotely enable or disable features in your vehicle, the power dynamic fundamentally shifts. Your ownership becomes conditional on their terms, transforming the largest purchase most people make outside of housing into a perpetual rental agreement. The automotive industry is watching Volkswagen's experiment closely. If consumers accept this model without significant backlash, we can expect similar paywalls to rapidly spread across all manufacturers and vehicle categories, forever changing what it means to own a car. You paid for the car. You own every bolt, wire, and chip inside it. But Volkswagen won't let you access the full power of the engine you already bought, unless you pay them extra, month after month, potentially forever. Volkswagen's decision to lock 27 horsepower behind a digital paywall in their ID. 0.3 electric vehicles represents a dangerous new frontier in how corporations are redefining ownership in the digital age. These cars physically contain all the hardware needed to deliver 228 horsepower, but are deliberately limited to 201 horsepower unless customers pay a monthly fee, annual subscription, or lifetime unlock that stays with the car rather than the customer. This isn't adding new features or improving the vehicle. It's simply removing an artificial restriction placed on capabilities you've already purchased. When Volkswagen claims this offers flexibility, they're misrepresenting a revenue generation strategy designed to extract ongoing payments for functionality that traditionally would have been included in the purchase price. The implications extend far beyond a few horsepower. This model represents a fundamental shift away from true ownership toward conditional licensing of physical products. When manufacturers can remotely control the capabilities of items you've purchased, traditional ownership rights become meaningless, creating a future where your possessions are never truly yours. What makes this particularly absurd is that while Volkswagen is nickel and diming customers over horsepower, the company sells more sausages than cars. You can get the full power of your bratwurst without a subscription, but not the vehicle that costs tens of thousands of dollars. For consumers, the message is clear. As software increasingly controls hardware functionality, manufacturers are rewriting the rules of ownership to their advantage. What begins with horsepower subscriptions today could easily expand to essential vehicle functions tomorrow, creating a future where the car you've purchased works fully only as long as you continue paying. This isn't innovation. It's the corporate monetization of capabilities you've already paid for. And unless consumers push back strongly against this model, it represents just the beginning of a troubling new era where ownership is replaced by perpetual rental of the products you thought you bought. Hit like and subscribe if you believe we should actually own the products we buy. Leave a comment with your thoughts on this subscription trend. Would you pay monthly for horsepower that's already in your car? Your voice matters in determining whether this becomes the new normal or gets rejected by informed consumers.